Hey guys, hey internet, come and watch us draw and talk Latinx file El Familiar. So welcome back to day 18 of 30 days of drawing Latinx files, where we explore Latin American cryptids, legends, and myths. If this is totally your thing, I will leave a link to the playlist down below so you can binge watch from the very beginning if that's totally your thing. If not, onward to El Familiar.
So, El Familiar, or El Perro Familiar. This Latinx file can be found throughout Uruguay and in the sugar mills of northwestern Argentina. In Argentina, different versions of this type of family spirit are described, but the most widespread identifies it with a kind of demonic creature that gives power and money to its owners of the sugar mills in exchange generally for human lives. El Familiar is described as a headless dog that drags a heavy chain around its neck. It's also described as having red eyes and hard hairs like a wild boar. This legend originates from the sugar plantations and when workers would go missing. Legend has it that most owners of these sugar mills, in exchange for good crop that particular year, would allow the familiar to eat and kill their workers in exchange for power and money. The creature is known as the protector of the plantations. The workers would go missing but soon be replaced with more workers, but this didn't go unnoticed by others. It is said that in some cases that the owner of the mills would keep these demons hidden in the basement and would allow the creature to feed one night a year from the pawns who had the misfortune of crossing their path, or who had been brought to his presence by the deception of the foreman. In return for protecting the sugar plantations, the owners would owe a victim in return. The dog is said to be sent to take that body to the devil. Legend has it, if the knowledge was not passed down once the employer dies, the relative would starve and the family fortune would be lost. It is also believed that when a coworker dies processing sugar, such as using some heavy machinery in the boiler room or in the mill where slipping on a conveyor belt can happen, it is said that El Familiar has claimed his one. If more than one passes, it is seen as the creature being very hungry. El Familiar eats only human flesh, with a predilection for feeding on these workers before the authority of the boss. This creature can haunt the mill workers' sheds, and it can also be released voluntarily by the bosses once a year to feed themselves, like we said. It is often believed that the owners of the mills have a pact with El Familiar, by which they are obliged to allow him to feed on at least one of his laborers every year. While generally satisfying this creature's hunger, this amount is said to be insufficient. In cases of not meeting quota, the same employer can end up being eaten as well. Only those who have been the victim of El Familiar know about it, but it is not possible to kill or injure it with the edge of any weapons or by shooting it. However, it is possible to escape alive by showing him a cross that is formed with the hilt of a dagger. It is also said that only those workers who carry crosses and rosaries have escaped the wrath of this creature.
I hope you guys enjoyed learning about El Familiar. If you did, definitely hit the like button down below and subscribe to find out what Latin American cryptid we end up drawing next. If this is your first video that you're seeing of mine, my name's Alethea. I go by the artist name Inkeater. I love drawing portraits and creatures for my imagination and bringing things to life, and sometimes we talk about music. If that's totally your thing, then definitely hit the subscribe button down below. If not, no worries. I hope you guys are doing awesome. Bye!
Whatever it is that you believe you're seeing, it's not real.
Seeing things before they happen. Things are not always what they seem in this place. So you can't take anything for granted.